We're here to empower high-income earners to gain back control of your time through financial independence and stop trading your time for money and start letting your money work harder for you.
And hey, if you want to meet other high-income earners on their FIRE journey, join our High Income Earners FIRE Facebook group. Every month, we'll have guest speakers and we'll share about what our team is currently working on and allow you to share what you are working on with other high-income earners.
Okay, welcome back to High Income Earners FIRE. I'm Cody Ye. Unfortunately, today, my co-host Aline Prague is not able to join us. Today, we have a great guest, Carstin Hao. I hope I pronounced your last name right. Yeah. And Carstin has over 10 years of experience in sales leadership, has experience in scaling businesses, and he's also a real estate investor and a short-term rental specialist. This year alone, himself, along with his team, has already 30 listings that grows them more than $500,000 in revenue. So that's welcome, Carstin.
Yeah, thanks so much, Cody, for having me on. Yeah, looking forward to it.
So for people who doesn't really know you, can you give us a quick bio?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm in sales. I'm a sales executive at a SaaS company. Actually been there for like 14 years now, since I graduated. I joined a company called Meltwater, and we're kind of in the social media space. So yeah, I kind of moved up the ranks at Meltwater, doing sales and leading teams. So definitely honed in, I guess, my sales skills there. And then I've always been investing in real estate. But 2 years ago, I came across some podcasts and some articles and really decided to scale, I guess, that portfolio, the real estate portfolio, learn a lot of things that I didn't know about before. So yeah, it's been a really interesting journey the last 2 years, getting into multifamily, doing the BRRRR strategy here in Ontario, and then most recently pivoted to doing some short-term rental and starting a short-term rental business. So yeah, definitely growing a lot and learning a lot.
Yeah. It's so again, our podcast name is called High Income Earners FIRE. And just off the record, we know you qualify for the accredited investor as well. Can you tell us why, if you're making so much money, you're still working so hard on your quote unquote side hustle?
Well, yeah, I mean, a T4 income is good. I mean, I guess you get a stable paycheck, but I mean, as everyone knows here in Canada, like you get taxed like crazy, right, on your T4. And, being part of this community, you know that just relying on a paycheck isn't really that secure and is going to be the road to FIRE or financial independence, right? So yeah, and that's why I think 2 years ago, like in the depths of COVID, is where I wanted to try side hustles and try a new challenge, which was again scaling my real estate portfolio, doing BRRRRs. So yeah, it's like try and create multiple streams of income so that you're not just reliant on one.
Yeah, paying a lot of taxes, a lot of paying for a lot of high income earners, especially when your company does not allow you to have your own corporation and all that, right? Not everyone allows that. Now, were you doing any side hustle before COVID, or you start everything after COVID?
I start everything I guess during COVID, right?
During COVID, okay.
Yeah.
So what shift? Like why all of a sudden you were making good money, you were not doing anything, you were still living a good life. Why all of a sudden after COVID perspective change, or during COVID?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. And if I think back, I think it was being connected to some real estate investors, came across some articles, came across some Instagram reels and videos, and like, there's something I'm missing, right? I mean, that sparked it. And also there's a saying, if you're comfortable, you're not really growing, right? So I think, for the longest time, I just had my 9 to 5, which was awesome, and I still enjoy it. But yeah, it's like being comfortable. It's like you're not really growing, you're not really challenging yourself to to a new level, right? And as you probably know, being involved in like real estate and stocks and options and whatnot, like I feel like these communities have, really ambitious people that are always trying to get to the next level, always trying to grow. So, I think it was just that feeling that, okay, I need to like push myself. Like there's more that I can achieve.
So on top of your full-time job, you push yourself because you're inspired by other people that are doing more. But selfishly, what were you trying to achieve? What was that vision for you when you got into real estate, right? You have a good T4, you got into multifamily and Airbnb. What was your end goal for that?
Yeah, I think my initial, reason for doing these things is, again, I wanted a new challenge. So it wasn't so much like the end goal, but it was like, okay, like I want to be the best, like short-term rental, like host. Like I want to prove to myself, to other people, but more prove to myself that I can take on a new challenge and accomplish new goals. And then financial freedom and financial independence, right? Like not being able to create a side hustle that replaces the T4.
Yeah.
So that, one day if I wanted to not do a T4 anymore, or if God forbid something happens, and as we all know, there's a lot of layoffs going on around this time, that, I have other things that I can lean on, right?
I heard a lot of layoffs, especially in the tech sector, right? Facebook having a big one, 11% gone, Twitter. And that kind of reiterate why you're doing that. Are you able to work from home all the time?
Yeah, most of the time, but also, I'll go in as well, though. Like
you have to commute a lot to work?
No, it's pretty close. Like it's like a 10-15 minute commute.
Okay. So you don't feel it.
So yeah.
I know you kind of mentioned wife. What does the wife think about all this stuff you're doing? All of a sudden become a maniac since during COVID, doing all these with multiple heads going all over the place. What does she think about this?
Yeah, I think, initially supportive, that's for sure. But definitely at the beginning, there was a bit of hesitation in terms of, like, how does all this real estate investing work? Like, is it the right call for us? But I think what we also did right and probably made a good decision on it is to invest in ourselves, right? Like I did invest in some mentorship just to make sure that I'm not at my age, I'm not like 21. At my age, I'm not making.
You're not that old, man.
I'm not that old, but I'm not that young. So just to make sure. Well,
get off the wrong. Get off the right way, right?
Yeah, exactly, and not make any like big mistakes that will take 5 steps back, so to speak. So yeah.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys have kids?
No, we don't.
No kids.
But yeah, we'll have a baby girl on the way in March. So
wait, is this like a surprise that we just dropped here?
Yeah,
or?
we just dropped it right here.
Oh my! Okay, congrats. Yeah, I know in the Asian cultures, you only reveal after 3 months, right? I hope it's after that. And
yeah, so we're past that.
Okay.
We're past that. Yeah.
Okay.
We're halfway there. So yeah.
A girl? Oh, 6 months in. Okay.
Yeah.
5 months.
Yeah.
A girl?
Yeah, girl. Yeah.
So how's that going to change the lifestyle you're having now? And how's that going to work together with all the things that you're doing full-time, Airbnb and multifamily and all that? How's that going to work? Because wife might have to take maternity leave and all that, right? Can you tell us more about that?
That's a great question. I think we're trying to figure that out every day. But yeah, I mean, I think, both my wife and I are, high achievers. We get a lot of stuff done. So I feel like we're a good team and we'll, we'll figure out our schedules and whatnot and work around everything. But I mean, another thing is, good thing about, what I've experienced so far in terms of the short-term rental business is, once you've built, maybe, and that's with any business, once you've built the right processes and the systems and you have the right team in place, it's somewhat passive,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, since you mentioned about short-term rental, let's get right into that. So how are we able to get 30 short-term rental listing in 1 year and grows about $500,000 in the first year? Tell us more about that.
Sure. Yeah, mentorship helps again. So we did take on another mentor, Chris Choi, to help.
Is that in US?
Yeah, he's based in the US. Again, didn't want to waste time and waste money making too many mistakes. So, I mean, his mentorship definitely helped a lot. But I think it's just focus, right? Like when I decided to start this business and do it, like it wasn't like trying to dabble my feet and test the waters. Like I was committed to, building a business with Airbnb arbitrage. So
tell us about your first 3 deals. How's that? Your first 3 short-term rental listing. I'm guessing for people who are listening to this, because I know Carstin a bit more, I'm guessing all these are what's so-called Airbnb arbitrage.
Yeah.
Right. Can you tell us what does Airbnb arbitrage mean?
Sure. Yeah. Airbnb arbitrage, basically, I am a long-term tenant. I rent the home from a landlord. And then with his or her permission, I'm re-renting the home out to Airbnb and other short-term rental platforms.
And usually, what's the incentive for existing landlord to, rent their house to you guys for you guys to make more money on short-term rental? What's your incentive?
Yeah, and I think, in Ontario, if you're a real estate investor, you've heard of the stories about bad tenants not paying rent, tenants trashing their place, right? So in a tenant-friendly province like Ontario, it's really in our favor in terms of our business model because we handle all the minor repairs and maintenance for the landlord. But also like our goals are in line. Like the landlord wants a rent check every month and that their place not be trashed and kept intact, right? And we're forced to do that in Airbnb because every guest that checks into the home expects a clean home, expects everything to be perfect, right? So even if we didn't want to do that, we're forced to, right? Like our business, hospitality, and so our goals, align a lot. So yeah, I mean, we take care of all the minor repairs and maintenance, guaranteed rent check every month. And again, like I'm an investor at heart. That's, I think, part of my pitch as well. Like I understand what, you're as a landlord, what you're afraid of, what your goals would be, right? We want that rent check. We don't want tenant calls. So that's what that's the solution I provide, really.
Yeah. And usually that's out of these 30 property, let's take one, for example, or a typical house, a full house. Okay. Wherever it's in Hamilton, I guess one of it's probably in Hamilton, right? How much can you rent it for long term?
So long term, I mean, I'm renting duplexes around $3,800 to $4,000 a month.
Upper and unit together, upper and lower together.
Lower together. Yeah.
Now, what if you do short-term rental of those? How much do you think you can get in gross?
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely peak seasons like the summer months and then lower seasons like now in the winter. But on average, you can probably do $6,000 to $7,000 if you average.
Almost double. So almost double.
Yeah.
Right. If we lay out over a year, look at high season, low season, it's pretty much double, right? 80% more rent.
Yeah, exactly.
And then you guys basically take on property management, take on managing the Airbnb, like communication, all the inventories, fix, maintenance and all that. So for all your 30 listing, do you guys pay the landlord market rent for the long-term rental? Is that what you guys do? And say, hey, it's a hands-off experience. You know what? If you can get $3,800, I'll pay you 3,800. Is that kind of the deal?
Exactly. Yep. And another part of the pitch is just like it's free property management essentially for the landlord too, right? So yeah. Yep, that's exactly it.
Okay. So tell us more about your first 3 listing then.
Sure. Yeah, I mean the first listing, first of all, like it took me a good like 4 months to like get my first property.
Why? Why so long?
Well, when I first was interested in this model, I would make a couple calls to landlords, get rejected, and they'd be like, okay, maybe it's not as easy as I thought. And then I would, you stop calling, and then I would see someone post about how much money they're making on this business model, and then I go try again, and then get rejected again. But yeah, like on and off, I finally like got someone to agree.
What's the biggest rejection? What is the top 3 rejection for landlords to reject you in the first 4 months?
I think it's just people don't like change, right? So like when you're a landlord or investor, your mindset is finding a long-term tenant. And then you have some like random person call you up and be like, hey, I want to do like short-term rental I want to make money off your home and do short-term rental. And like people just don't like change and they just don't understand it, right? Which is fair. So it just, it takes time to, I think, get your sales pitch down and really be able to convince a landlord. But yeah, convince the landlord finally. But I made like every mistake in the book, right? Like when furnishing the place, like it wasn't really systemized the first time, obviously. So it took us like a month to put together like a 3-bedroom house. But yeah, the rent was $2,200. That was my first deal for like a 3-bed.
You paid $2,200 for the upper unit?
For 3-bed, 2-bath.
So you pay the market rent, right? Hamilton, that's about market rent. Yeah.
Yeah. A year ago, that's probably was market rent's probably gone up a little bit since then. Yeah. And then that was another mistake. We spent like, I think $17,000 furnishing it, which was.
Why would you say that's a mistake? 15, 17,000. I mean, that sounds reasonable.
Yeah, I could do it for less. Like my budget, I think was like around 12, right? At that time. But I kind of let the interior designer take hold of the project, and there were some expenses that, just weren't run by me. But yeah, I mean, those are some of the mistakes there. But yeah, we spent $15,000, $17,000 furnishing it, and then yeah, we listed it, and we were able to like make back our investment in like 8 months on that first deal.
So what's a rough how long has this property been? Less than 1 year, or?
Yeah, it's probably a good year now. Yeah.
And so you pay the landlord for $2,200 and say, trust me with your property. And, as long as you pay, the landlord don't care, as long as you take care of the property. But on your end, what does the number look like after 1 year? What's after average rent, like gross per month?
Yeah, around 44,000, around there. It's being able to average.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. So if you have 30 of those, each is a difference of 2,000 per month. That's by 24,000 per year. If you have 30 of those, 720,000 gross. Of course, each one of them might be a bit different, up and down, but average, if you can multiply that by 30, of course, we're talking about gross. We haven't talked about any costs and all that. What would you say is your cost of running it? Or do you have a team, or do you just like split among the partners? You do this, I do this. So you guys kind of put in a sweat equity, or how do you guys do it?
No, we put in we hire like a on the ground team. Like you'll need cleaners. You'll need like a handyman kind of that can help you go to different properties and whatnot. But you're looking at like 30 to 40% margin.
Margin that you take home?
Yeah.
So that's a 2,200 you pay, you get about 4,000. You have 1,800 of difference. So out of that, you take home about 30 to 40%. Let's call it 30%. So you take home about $500.
Yeah. I'd say like probably a little bit more. I mean, every property is a little bit different.
Yeah. Okay, 40%. Right. You take home about 720.
Yeah.
So we have 30 of those times 720. How much is that? 720 times by 30. That's 21,000 per month.
Yeah.
And that's actually net.
Yeah. It's a scale game for sure. Right. Like if you do like one or two kind of charges, like it's not really going to do too much.
Yeah.
With anything, but yeah, it's always a scale game, I guess, when you're in business. Yeah.
Okay. So why do you guys choose to go the arbitrage route instead of owning the property and do it?
I think it's just time. Like you could rent like 5 of these. Like it's definitely a lot lower barrier to entry, lower capital, right? When you do this arbitrage model. And then obviously with owning property, there's pros as well in terms of you get mortgage pay down, you get appreciation, but obviously your capital outlay is a lot more. Like you're putting 20% down as an example on a home to do this, right? So yeah, definitely the arbitrage model, just not lower capital need required to start.
So lower barrier of entry, lower capital. What about the risks? Do you guys think about arbitrage as less risk because of the pricing fluctuation? What if you pay for this and you don't actually rent it out for that much for whatever change in the market? People stop renting on Airbnb. Is that another reason why you guys look at that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a risk for sure. I mean, definitely regulations within cities is a risk as well. But I think in any business, there's risk. So it's just about being able to anticipate maybe what the upcoming risks are, and then putting a plan in place to try and mitigate the risk as much as possible. But yeah, there's definitely risk. But again, the good thing also about maybe arbitrage is, if things really don't turn out well, I mean, you can probably put in your 60 days notice and exit a lease pretty amicably with a landlord, versus if you're buying a property with your plan A as short-term rental, Airbnb, and whether governments change laws or maybe COVID hits again, I don't know. Selling the property is probably a lot harder than exiting a lease, as we're seeing in the real estate market right now, right? Like, real estate is great, but it's not the most liquid asset either.
Yes. And no, that's good that you guys have those in place. Now, the strategy change throughout the 30 property. When you guys start the first one, it sounds like a duplex upper unit. Throughout the 30 property, are you guys still looking for a duplex, or are you guys looking at different properties now?
So yeah, I mean, my first 4 or 5 deals were all duplexes, just doing that model. But my partner and I, we've actually dabbled into luxury properties out in Vancouver. So that's been a very interesting kind of journey as well. Like it's totally different asset class, totally different way of, managing and pricing these. So yeah, we definitely entered into the luxury space. And then we also entered into like a boutique apartment hotel type of model as well.
So tell us more about that. How many luxury properties in Vancouver do you guys have out of those 30 listing?
Yeah, we have 3.
Okay. How are those doing so far?
In the summer months, it's surprisingly good. And yeah, I guess just with even like our duplexes here in Ontario, like there are low seasons as well. So definitely in low season, it's harder to make a profit for sure. Right. But yeah, they've been profitable. Definitely, we've had some challenges with vacancy, with managing these luxury properties, because these are like 5 to 10,000 square feet homes.
Yeah. People expect more, right? People expect when they pay more, they expect the experience.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. They expect more, and then it's just you need that many more people to help you upkeep a home like that, right? Like for example, you need like a team of like 5 cleaners to go into a 10,000 square foot home to be able to turn it around in a day, as an example of a challenge, right? So yeah, I mean, I think we've learned a lot from taking on these 3 luxury properties, and good thing is that we negotiated some good like lease terms and some good deals to still make these profitable during lower times of the year.
Yeah. Would you guys want to do more, get more of these luxury listing, or you guys like, you know what, we learned a lesson, we're probably just going to hold on to these, but we're not expanding? And
we're always looking. Like, we're actually expanding into the US right now, but we're more focused with the recession coming. We feel like, for example, like 1-bedroom apartments or studio apartments, these are less risky type of arbitrage deals that will be profitable through a recession. So we're really focused and dialed in on doing the kind of boutique apartment model down in the US right now.
How's that going? The boutique model property and the multifamily, has that been, start leasing out, or are you guys still working on it?
Yeah, we leased out our first, we signed leases for 11 units, and we got our first 5 up and running in Cincinnati in the US. So yeah, it's been good. I mean, with why the apartment model is good is because you do get economies of scale, right? When you lease up 10 units in an apartment building, naturally there's economies of scale there.
How do you compare that kind of boutique property and multifamily with traditional multifamily investing?
Yeah, good question. I think same pros and cons apply to, buying a single family home to do short-term rental and arbitraging, right? So, these multifamily, I mean, the ones we target are more like luxury with a lot of amenities. So, I mean, you're talking what, $30+ million assets that we're, instead of, building an asset like that or owning one, again, you're just renting apartments to make a profit, right?
Is there still kind of a 30 or 40% net profit margin on the difference between long-term rent and short-term rent? Is that still the number you guys are looking at when you guys enter into boutique?
I think we're aiming. Yeah, I think we're aiming like $1,000 cash flow per unit that we do.
So that's double.
Yeah,
that's double of traditional boring duplex, right?
Yeah, like give or take. That's what we're looking at.
That makes sense. Wow, beauty. Yeah, because the time constraint we're going to go into fire round, but before we go into that, like anything else you want to share with us? We talk about your T4. We talk about your Airbnb, short-term rental, arbitrage. We didn't talk much about your multifamily, but anything else you want to share with our listeners on the journey? We're already there with their fire journey.
Yeah, I think, just be patient on this journey. It doesn't happen overnight. Like when I first, 2 years ago started doing like BRRRRs, I was like, oh yeah, like, I'll BRRRR like, I don't know, 15, 20 units, and then, I'll be on financial independence. But like, you quickly realize it's not that easy. It's not what people on social media drum it up to be. It takes a lot of hard work and it takes patience and time. So, I think that would be one thing. And then maybe second thing is just like, I think a lot of people talk about like multiple streams of revenue. I think it's probably more wise to just like focus on one stream of revenue, be like really good at it, like perfect it, be an expert at that one stream of revenue, because I think focus is everything, right? Like if you're focused on 10 different revenue streams and you haven't perfected one of them, I don't think that's the best strategy, right? So I'm definitely very focused on this building an arbitrage business, and see where it takes us.
Beauty. That's great chat. Are you ready for our fire round?
Yeah.
Quick 5 question.
Okay,
we're going to keep you on your feet. First question is, if you become a billionaire with the B, what would your day look like?
Wow. Spending a lot of time with family, probably. Spending time on the golf course with you.
We only play once. Yeah, we got to play more. I'm improving, so you better keep up.
Yeah. I think I'll still be working. I mean, working on different projects, different investments. But yeah, I mean, I haven't thought too much about it. But yeah, I think, when you have that much wealth, it's just you can pick what you want to do. So that's what I would do. Mm-hmm. Just do things I like to do.
Cool. Second question. If you have to start all over again, you lost your job, you still have your knowledge, we dropped $500,000 at your door, you lost everything, no jobs, nothing, but you have your knowledge with $500,000, what will you do to start again?
I would just start another short-term rental business. I would say do what
arbitrage?
I know.
Short-term rental arbitrage?
Since I, know what I'm doing with that business, that's what I would do. Yeah.
Cool. Now, if you were a podcast host, who would you interview?
As a podcast, say Grant Cardone.
Grant Cardone, why?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a real estate investor first. It'd be great to pick his brain on, how he was able to scale his portfolio, what connections he built to be able to do what he's doing. And I think he's great at marketing his brand, right? So it's good to like dig into that as well in terms of how he chose that route to, post a ton of content and he did that for a reason, right? So yeah, be good to dig into that.
Gotcha. I'll hook you up with something interesting maybe after this. Fourth question. What other ways are you giving back? I know you probably have your own ways of giving back. What's that vision, or are you currently doing it?
I think, I think, my days are definitely quite busy. I think I'd love to give back more. I think for now, how I'm giving back is just, sharing my journey on social, giving away, giving value to people who are following me. And, I do get a lot of messages in terms of, oh, hey, can you teach me how to do this, or have questions? And so, from that standpoint, I'm trying to give back and reply to people and really try and help others achieve what they want to achieve.
Great. Lastly, where can our audience find more about you, to ask you a question?
Yeah, I think Instagram is probably the easiest. It's just my first name, last name, Carstin Hao. You'll be able to find me there. That's probably the easiest way to reach me.
Great. Well, go on Instagram to find Carstin if you want. And that kind of conclude our interview today. Any last word of wisdom for people who are in your position, high income earners, making great money, mid-30s, going to become a dad in 5 months? Any advice for them?
Yeah, I'd say do what you love to do, right? Like life is short, so don't do things that you're not passionate about and you don't like doing, and try and like build a second or third stream of income, right? Just to protect yourself, your family. And yeah, there's a lot of ways to do it. It doesn't have to be real estate, right? There's a lot of other ways you can build streams of income, like a YouTube channel. I don't know, maybe something, right? But I think, yeah, now more than ever, it's important, like, to have something else to lean on. So yeah.
Yes, very wise words. Well, thanks for coming on, Carstin. It's been a blast for this journey. Like, we don't have a lot of short-term rental arbitrage. You're the first person to come on to share about it. We're going to have more. I'm sure you're going to give me those names to share as well. And thanks for your time coming on. I hope you enjoy.
Yeah, it was a great chat. And again, thanks for having me on.
All the links mentioned in this episode are included in the show notes. And if you love this episode, please leave us a rating and review on Apple iTunes. The link is also included in the show notes. And we would really appreciate your help in spreading the word to more high income earners on how they too can maximize both their time and money.
Also, if you still haven't joined our High Income Earners Facebook group, you are missing out on High Income Earners community, where we help each other reach our own version of FIRE.